Morning. Um, Before we start looking at Daniel 8 through 10 today, I'd just like to ask that you would include Jim's family in your prayers today. A member of our congregation passed away this morning early, and just ask that you would keep him especially in your prayers. All this, especially this time of year, those who are mourning the death of a loved one currently, or it's a different kind of time for them. So just thanks for doing that. Chapter 8 today, Daniel has a vision of a ram, a goat, a ram first, there's a male sheep, and then a goat. And this ram is quite an impressive ram, and he's butts his head, and he has a great empire. And then the goat comes, and he knocks the horns off of the ram. And, it's a picture of one kingdom that is building and becoming an empire, but then another kingdom that comes in, another land that comes with greater power, and talks about how they act arrogantly, and they're taking burnt offerings away, and desecrating the sanctuary of the Lord, and all of those things. And then in verse 13, Daniel says, I heard a holy one speaking, and another one said to that one, how long is this vision concerning the regular burnt offering? And he says, for 2,300 evenings and mornings, and then it will be restored. And so I look at that, 2,000 evenings and mornings, and I thought of it as 2,300 days, but most biblical scholars and stuff will look at it as half that many days, 1,150 days, because they're counting the evening and the morning, so there would be 2 for each day. But still, it's a time of a little over 3 years, and there are other times and places where we'll see 3.5 years and stuff. But if you divide 1,150 days by 365 days a year, it's 3.15 years, so, but regardless, it's, that's a long time, to be that. And then it would be restored, it says, to its rightful state. So this is, they're looking at, is it Israel that they're looking at being restored, and the kingdom being rebuilt? And then, as we go on through the rest of chapter 8, David hears this voice again. A human voice calling Gabriel, help this man understand the vision. So the angel Gabriel is there to help Daniel understand the vision and to see what is. And he talks about, the ram was with the 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia, and then the male goat is the king of Greece, which were we talked and the others, it was as the Nebuchadnezzar's and Belshazzar fell, then the king of Medes and Persia came in, and so it's continuing on in that same line of the prophecy. And I find, I was thinking about this earlier this morning as I read this, that it's a lot more fun to read in the Bible, the story of Daniel in the lion's den, or Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace, and some of the feel-good stories. And it's so true in so much of life. We want the feel-good stuff. We don't, but when we hear the visions and God's laws coming and that stuff, it's harder to read. It's harder for us to hear, but yet we have to hear these words because we're fallen sinners. And anyway, Gabriel interprets the dream for Daniel in chapter 8. And then chapter 9 starts in the first year of Darius, the son of the king over the realm of Chaldeans. So we've got these different kings that are coming, and depending upon where Daniel is or whatever, they date it by the king that's in place. And here we have, that the word of the Lord to the prophet Jeremiah will be fulfilled for 70 years. And then there's times when they interpret this as 70 years and 7 weeks of 70 years. So they're talking maybe 490 years, that this all comes back to being. But yet it's because of the shame and the sin. And that's, it's spoken twice at least for sure, where it's, but open shame falls upon us. That's verse 7. Righteousness is on your side, O Lord, but open shame as this day falls on us. And then again in verse 8, open shame, O Lord, falls on us. So the people know that it's because of their sinfulness. But they come to God, and I marked in, it's over into, no, I don't see it here right now, but the shame falls upon us, but yet, verse 18, it comes, open your eyes and look at our desolation. We do not present our supplication to you on the ground of our righteousness, but on the ground of your mercies. We don't come to God because of our righteousness. We come to God because he is gracious and merciful, and he's given his son Jesus to die for us. And this is what we're hearing the Israelites say. We're not coming because we're righteous. We're coming, Lord God, because of your grace. And so that the people know that their sin is what has caused this. And, in verse 15 of chapter 9 says, and now, O Lord, you brought your people out of Egypt with a mighty hand. We have sinned. We have done wickedly. And, and that's the confession part. That's the confession part. And that's what you and I need to do as well. Confess to God, that we're sinful, that we're unclean, that we have not loved God with our whole heart, or, and it's that brief order of confession, that we have sinned grievously against God and against our neighbors and everyone else, and comes with all of that. And so chapter 9 is a prayer for the people. Daniel's words, the people's words, coming to God, asking for that. And it's kind of, in verse 24 and on, 70 weeks are decreed for your people in your holy city. And there will be 7 weeks, and for a time of 62 weeks, it'll be built again. And, so we have that 70, and those big numbers. And then chapter 10 is again now starts out in the 3rd year of King Cyrus of Persia. A word was revealed to Daniel, who was known as Belshazzar. And again, this is a vision, and there were other people there. But Daniel, verse 7, I, Daniel, alone saw the vision. The people who were with me did not see the vision, although they trembled. They felt something. They knew there was something going on. It says they fled. They fell upon them. Great trembling fell upon them. They fled and hid themselves. And I think that you and I would do the very same thing in the very presence of God. We would have a great trembling come upon us and flee and want to hide as well. But we can come to God confident in his grace and in his mercy. Just as the people said, we don't come on our righteousness, but we come to God because of God's grace. And the Bible in its whole, leads us and teaches us of God's grace.